after the civil war, millions, about 6 million Syrians fled the country, 44,000 of whom came to Canada in about 2015, including my next guest. Tareq Hadhad is with me. He is the CEO and the founder of Peace by Chocolate. That's an incredible company that he built in Nova Scotia. He had a company in Damascus, which was destroyed in the Assad regime. So we really appreciate his view on what has been happening over these past few days. And he's with me from Halifax. Welcome back to the program, Tareq. It's good to see you again.
Good morning, Heather. Thank you very much for having me.
You know, if I bring back these live pictures, this is 4 days on, 4 days since the ouster of Bashar al-Assad. The celebration continues, and this is for the people in Syria. We've seen similar scenes in Canada, and I'm wondering, over these 4 days, what your reaction has been, how it perhaps has evolved as you have continued to see these scenes and to sort of process what's going on.
You know, Heather, we have talked many times in the past, but I never really imagined I would be talking to you talking about the falling of the Assad regime. This feels like a moment that was not going to come in my lifetime, especially after 14 years of so much pain and suffering and losses that many millions of Syrians have to go through just to keep that dictator in power. So it is certainly an extraordinary time for our family, for all Syrians who are cheering right now and thinking about the value of hope and never giving up. Because at the end of every ounce of darkness, there is light. And I really believe in the power of the Syrian people to make the future even brighter. To be honest, I haven't slept in nights. I'm sleeping only 1 or 2 hours a night because I try to keep up with the news. Because when we go to sleep here, the country is almost waking up back home in Syria. It's almost, you know, kind of a cycle of joy that I never really imagined it would happen. And I'm so thrilled to see the country healing and breathing. I think, Heather, this is the most important point, is that the country is finally truly breathing. I've seen the pictures of the dictator on our money, on our report cards, on the streets, on the airports, the photos everywhere. You have seen yesterday the reports. I was watching a report on CNN about the luxury, the lavish lifestyle that this dictator had to go through when many Syrians were unable to put food on the table for their families. So absolutely, it is a time to celebrate. And I think that many Syrians right now, they think that the worst part is over. But for us as Syrians, we have to be careful because we are done with the worst part. We cannot accept the worst or the bad. We need to look for the good and the better. So I really am trying from my place here to have conversations and engagement with as many people as possible to gain the momentum to push.
I didn't want to interrupt it. I just love looking at your smile because I can see the joy that you are experiencing as you watch something that, as you say, you didn't expect to see in your lifetime. One of the people with whom you've been having a conversation and engaging is, in fact, Canada's Prime Minister. And we were following your social media postings yesterday because just yesterday you had a conversation with Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, shared some of that emotion that you've just shared with us in terms of what you're seeing in Syria. But I know you also spoke to him directly about the role you would like Canada to play in Syria's rebuilding. It's got to be from Syrian people. We've heard that from everyone. But as far as the global community and from Canada specifically, what role did you suggest to the Prime Minister this country should play?
I think Canada has a golden opportunity to build a transformational leadership towards supporting the Syrian people, only the Syrian people who are dreaming and yearning for peace, for healing, for stability. I think Canada has an incredible role to play in humanitarian efforts, in relief efforts, but also to make sure that we are acknowledging and recognizing that Syria is still an unsafe place. So many refugees, they will still be able to, hopefully they will still be able to claim their refugee status here in the country, as well as I really hope that the Prime Minister would urge international powers, would urge Israel to stop the airstrikes. We have seen 500 airstrikes that has shaken the country since Saturday. I've talked to my sister, and she's extremely anxious and really stressed about those airstrikes. I've talked to him as well about bringing Assad to full accountability and justice, because he obviously and very simply, he can't just leave the country and escape after all those war crimes that he and his family have inflicted upon the Syrian people for over 50 years. So I think for sure Canada as one of the G7, one of the G20, the second largest country in the world with so much power and resources. I really hope, for me also, I'm talking as a proud Canadian citizen right now, but also as Syria is my home by birth, Canada is my home by choice. I'm trying to use my voice here in the country with the Prime Minister and many people to hopefully push forward a much brighter future for Syria.
Okay. Let me ask you, I'm hoping we can have further conversations because I think this is going to have to be my final question this morning, Tareq. But you mentioned Canadian citizens since 2020 and also mentioned refugees wanting to head home. And we certainly, I mentioned that the transitional Prime Minister has said all refugees should come home. But it's still unsafe. Canadian citizens, I mean, is this something that you would ever contemplate? Would you ever be tempted at this point to return to Syria? Your life and business is here now, of course. What do you think we are going to see in terms of refugees wishing to return home to Syria?
I will answer you first personally. When I came to Canada, I said that this country is my home. And Canada is not like a hotel or a hospital that I leave after I recover. Canada is my home and my home. However, for many other Syrians, and we are talking specifically about those on the borders of Syria, that they were living in refugee camps, they were living in tents. I have seen them, Heather, when I was in Lebanon as a medical coordinator, going into these refugee camps and seeing them living in tents that are like a few millimeters from minus 15 degrees. I know right now is the time for them really to go to their homes in Syria and enjoy the sense of home that they have been denied for over 14 years because of that dictator who stayed in power. So I know a lot of Syrians are excited right now. I think it's going to take months and years to really figure out how the situation is going to be in the country. Our family are proud Canadian citizens. We are in Canada. We will stay in Canada, but we are at least excited to be able to visit my home country, to go see my sister, who I haven't seen in almost 14 years, Heather. So it's an incredible time, and really we are all praying that this is just the beginning. It won't be easy, but Syrians are resilient, and the country deserves every ounce of dignity. We are praying for healing, we're praying for stability, and we're praying for peace.
Tareq, when you do go back to visit your sister, you're going to have to invite us along with cameras because that's a reunion we'd very much like to see. Please come back and talk to me again. I'll look forward to it. And peace by chocolates. There's some peace that you perhaps did not envisage that you're seeing play out in your home country right now. Thank you so much for the time, and we'll speak again soon, Tareq.
My pleasure.